Daniel Radcliffe can't overcome the one-role curse. Whatever he does, people still see him as the actor who played Harry Potter.
I think now there's a tendency to assume that everything that I do is a comment on what I used to do.
It seems Daniel desperately wants to forget the years he spent playing the wizard. After all, it was far from being the best part of his life. Sure, the role of Harry Potter defined Dan's future career and brought him overnight fame, but it also led to multiple struggles. Instead of having a normal childhood, he had to follow a schedule full of shootings, interviews, premieres, and red carpet events. Even going to school turned into a challenge. Dan's classmates became hostile towards him after the first Harry Potter movie was released. They teased him a lot, as if his success was a bad thing. What made things worse was the fact that Dan didn't really want this kind of life. When he was asked to audition for Harry Potter, he wasn't that interested in acting. His parents had to convince him to even consider going for it, and when he became the boy who lived, Radcliffe still thought about quitting. In fact, he almost stepped down after the third film of the franchise. Dan thought about telling the producers that they'd have to find someone to replace him. He felt as if he could no longer sustain the pressures of fame. Dan didn't get a chance to do even the most ordinary things, such as hanging out with his friends or walking in a park, because he was constantly followed by his fans and paparazzi. Public scrutiny made things worse day by day. He felt as if everyone expected him to be happy because he was famous.
Part of the thing is the expectation that you should just be delighted all the time. You know, you have a great job, you're wealthy, you don't have a right to ever feel sad. If I am just feeling some human emotion of sadness, does that mean I'm doing this wrong?
Dan felt frustrated and wanted people to stop looking at him all the time. But because he was still so young, he didn't know how to deal with his problems in a healthy way. And in an attempt to escape them, he turned to the bottle.
You know, in my case, the quickest way of forgetting about the fact that you were being watched was to get very drunk.
Alcohol helped distract him from everything. But for those who saw Dan, he wasn't just a regular drunk guy. He was Harry Potter who was getting drinks at a bar. Radcliffe wanted the franchise to end, but feared that moment at the same time. He had no idea what he was going to do afterwards. The only thing he knew was that he didn't want to become a one-role actor, and this thought haunted him. For some time, he didn't see a way out, and many times he even came to the set still under the influence. I can point to many scenes where I'm just gone, dead behind the eyes. Fortunately, at some point, Dan realized that he had a serious problem, and it was time to stop.
And ultimately, it was my own decision. Like, I woke up one morning after a night going like, this is probably not good.
Of course, he didn't overcome his demons immediately.
It took a few years and it took a couple of attempts, but I think I have been just unbelievably lucky with the people that I've had around me at certain times in my life.
Dan's parents helped him recover and overcome the struggles with fame that he faced. The actor shared that they walked the balance of not being pushy, but always supportive. Dan has been sober ever since. But even though he learned how to deal with his inner struggles, Dan still had to prove himself to others. It was important for him to convince everyone that he was more than the boy wizard. And it wasn't easy. Because whatever Radcliffe did, people would say that it was just another move from Harry Potter. Trying to prove that he was more than a one-role actor, Dan started taking on more and more parts after the franchise ended. One of his post-Potter roles was radically different. It was the play Equus, where Dan was on stage completely naked. It may have been the first time he shocked audiences, but it definitely wasn't the last. Radcliffe has since played a multitude of characters in various movies, from horrors to romantic comedies. From Dr. Frankenstein's assistant, to the guy who got lost in the jungle, and to the parody of musician Weird Al Yankovic.
I always enjoy being challenged by something and feeling that I'm doing something that I haven't done before.
But to this day, it seems that many people don't believe that he has a versatile talent. They keep identifying Dan with the Harry Potter franchise, and the actor keeps on forcing everyone to see him in a different light with each new project he takes on.
I'm looking forward to a day where I can just release a film and it not be, I suppose, talked about in that way.
Luckily for Dan, that day might come. For one of his recent movies, The Lost City, he actually won the MTV Movie Award for Best Villain. So it looks like people are finally starting to see him as more than a one-role actor. Perhaps one day Daniel will be able to create a new image of himself that will separate him from Harry Potter once and for all.
There is no one film that fully separates me in the eyes of everybody else from Harry Potter. That's not going to be something that happens. It's just about building up as diverse and kind of interesting, hopefully, a body of work as I can.
Despite all the struggles the role of Harry Potter brought into his life, Dan never regretted going for it. Even at his lowest point, he still loved his job. That was the reason why he never left the franchise and never quit acting. His career didn't only bring him fame and adoration, it also helped him find his significant other. Dan met actress Erin Dark on the set of one of his films, and soon started dating her. They've been happy together for 10 years now. Despite being appreciative of what Harry Potter did for his career, Radcliffe was still relieved when he could stop playing the boy who lived and choose the projects he liked. And so, Dan learned to enjoy his life.
I'm really much happier now.
Believe in yourself, and you'll be able to do anything.